and welcome to Coffee Break Blogging, where you'll learn to grow and monetize your blog in short, tactical installments you can use right away. Now here's the next episode in our series. Hello there, David Risley here, and welcome back to Coffee Break Blogging, where we're going to talk some more about membership sites today. Today, actually, we're going to specifically get a little bit technical. We're going to talk about the tools that I use to build membership sites. So we're going to talk about some specific tools that basically this is how the Blog Monetization Lab at blogmonetizationlab.com is built. Okay. So if you've ever wondered how I put it together, this podcast is going to answer that question. Okay. So we're just going to name off some tools here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information about it and why I choose to use it. Okay. Now, in terms of getting the links to this, I'm not going to mention a bunch of links in the podcast itself, because saying URLs on a podcast is just not that useful. But I can say that you can go to the show notes on this episode and all the links will be right there. So run on over to coffeebreakblogging.com. That will take you right to the main homepage for this podcast. If you've been there before, you actually might notice that it looks a little bit different now because the Blog Marketing Academy recently got a bit of a facelift. It's actually a lot more modern looking in many ways, and it's got a lot more usability enhancements, especially inside the Blog Monetization Lab itself. The members have noticed a much better experience in there. But if you run on over to coffeebreakblogging.com, you will now see that you can listen to all episodes all the way back to the beginning, which has been a bit of an issue. We've been having a little bit of an issue with the RSS feed not going all the way back, and we're in the process of debugging that. In fact, maybe by the time this episode comes out, we'll have it fixed. I'm not really sure. But irregardless of that, if you go to coffeebreakblogging.com, you will see a link to the full archives right on the site going all the way back to episode 1, which this wasn't even called Coffee Break Blogging back then. It was called the Blog Program. Woo! Exciting name, right? So anyway, and then if you want to go back to the very beginning of Coffee Break and follow along chronologically with us, well, starting around episode 30 or so, you can now do that without anything getting in your way, okay? So you can run on back to coffeebreakblogging.com and go to the full archives. You'll get access to that. But not only that, you can easily access the show notes for this particular episode 123, and get the links to the tools that I'm going to mention right now. Okay, so let's talk about the tools that I use to build membership sites. Tool number 1 is called MemberMouse. Okay, now MemberMouse is the primary plugin that I use on top of WordPress to actually power the membership site. It's what controls all the access. It's where I set up the products. It's an extremely robust membership site platform. Now, I used to use Wishlist Member, and I got a little bit peed off at it, and I don't use it anymore, obviously. I went from that into a system that worked directly with my CRM, which is Ontraport, which I'll be mentioning again here in a little bit. But, at the time, there were some issues with Ontraport and their membership site plugin working all that well. Now, I think some of those issues have been rectified since, but it made me go shopping. And I'm kind of glad that it happened, because when I went out there and did some additional research into it, I was finding tons of, there are a lot of membership site plugin options out there. There's MemberPress, Digital Access Pass, Wishlist Member, just tons of these things, okay? And at the end of the day, most of them have the same basic functionality, but then you find those who just stand out from the pack. And one of those is most definitely MemberMouse. It's kind of weird that it's got the word mouse in the title, because this is no mouse of a plugin. It's like an enterprise level membership site solution for WordPress. Now, don't think that it has enterprise level pricing behind it. It is not. It's actually very affordable. But it is just robust. One of my favorite things about it is how you could actually build full upsell sequences, one-click upsells similar to Amazon. Even if they're not in the funnel itself actively buying things, they could come back as long as they're logged into their member account. you can literally have something there that they can buy with a single click as an add-on. It's an extremely, extremely powerful membership site platform. So if you really want to turn your business into your blog into a real business here, MemberMouse is a great way to go. Lots of flexibility. And again, the link to that, I mean, you can go to membermouse.com. It is pretty simple. Now, I will say that the links in the show notes for this episode 123 will be my affiliate link. Some of these I do have an affiliate link to, and I do make a small commission if you do choose to buy that through me. But it doesn't cost you any extra, of course. And I'm only telling you about the things that I use personally. So I don't ever recommend anything just because of commission. I only tell you about what I use, okay? And I love MemberMouse, okay? The next tool that I want to tell you about is OptimizePress. Now, OptimizePress is definitely not new to the market. Many, many people know about it. It is designed to create professional looking landing pages and squeeze pages and sales pages and those types of things with WordPress. Now, these days, some of the bigger solutions like LeadPages and ClickFunnels and these guys seem to get a lot more attention. But the thing is, LeadPages specifically, it's recurring, which you're paying for it every month, and it's not exactly cheap. The other thing is that I find it to be extremely limiting on what you can do with it. I just find I pull my hair out every time I use LeadPages. I really don't know why people like it so much, to be honest with you. I mean, unless you're just really not any good at code and you're not that particular about what it looks like, then LeadPages is a great fit for you. But if you are willing to get your hands a little bit dirty and you want full flexibility to do whatever it is that you want, OptimizePress is a better way to go. Not only that, it's not a recurring fee. It's a one-time buy and you own it. Now, I think you'll have to renew it after a year if you want continuing updates and support, but it's not like it's going to stop working. Whereas with LeadPages or ClickFunnels, if you stop paying, all your pages just disappear off the internet. Completely different. So in terms of my membership site, where I use OptimizePress for is my sales page for the site, for any sales pages, whether it be for a front-end product or even for the membership site, and also for my checkout page. One thing I like about OptimizePress, being that it's all integrated inside of WordPress, that means that short codes and various other functions of WordPress are all going to work inside of an OptimizePress page. And so the MemberMouse actually controls my checkout process. But because it does that by way of short codes, I can integrate those short codes into OptimizePress and therefore have full control of the look and feel of my checkout page with OptimizePress, but have all the power and functionality of MemberMouse to do it. Okay? That is what I like about it. I also like with OptimizePress that I can literally do any damn thing I want. I mean, it's not like LeadPages where they allow me 4 options. And I'm happy as long as I like those 4 things. With OptimizePress, I can do anything I want. Okay? So I'm a real big fan of OptimizePress for that reason. The next tool that I use to build my membership site is Stripe. Now, Stripe is for processing credit cards. Okay, this is how I process credit cards at the Blog Marketing Academy. Now, I used to have a merchant account. In fact, I still do have a merchant account. I'm just not running any transactions through it these days. I switched over to Stripe for multiple reasons. And I am, in the next episode of Coffee Break, episode 124, I am going to talk more specifically about how to accept credit cards on your blog. But I'll just tell you at this point, episode 123, is that I am personally using Stripe, and I like it a lot. For multiple reasons. But another one is that it integrates beautifully with MemberMouse. And if you want to have that one-click buy capability in MemberMouse, you need to be using something that supports it. And Stripe happens to be one of those. If you're trying to use PayPal, MemberMouse will work with PayPal. It's just that you're not going to have that easy one-click buy because you have to send the member to PayPal in order to pay, and then they come back. Whereas with Stripe, they stay at my site the entire time. Okay, and they never leave the Blog Marketing Academy while they're buying things, and that's a beautiful thing. So Stripe is what I use for processing my credit cards, and you might want to check into that as well because you don't have to apply for a merchant account and do all that more complex stuff. It's pretty easy to sign up for. Okay, the next tool that I use to build membership sites is called WPCourse. Now, WPCourse is what is called a learning management system for WordPress. It's what the courses inside the Academy are built on top of, okay? And so what I like about WPCourse is that you can set up your courses, you can organize the training units, which is what it's called in WPCourse, into different modules and stuff like that. And it's all organized by WPCourse. The other thing I like about it is that it provides my members progress control. And so I can control a person's access through the course, but they can also check it off as complete. So my students always know where they are. If I give them, a 5-module course, it's not like they're going to be like, where did I leave off on this thing? It will literally color code the ones that they've completed, and they mark it off as complete, and then it automatically takes them to the next one. And so that's why I like WPCourse. It's got a lot of other functionality built into it, such as quizzing, which is a really powerful function that I'm actually not using right now. But it's a learning management system. It's designed specifically for building and managing courses inside of WordPress. And so you take WPCourse and you couple that with a really robust membership site platform, and you've got a great, great system there. Okay? The next tool that I use to build membership sites is a little known plugin, and it's called To-Do List Member. Now, here's where I use this one. The main functionality of the Blog Monetization Lab is what I call the action plans. Now, the action plans are decidedly different than the courses and how they function. I'm not going to get into the philosophical reason why I do action plans versus courses. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. But just from a on-screen perspective, it's not a multi-module affair like you would have with WPCourse. An action plan all fits on one screen, and it's got a series of to-do list items. And what you do is you click on that, and it expands downward, tells you what to do, gives you the information that you need to do it. And then when you're done, you check it off, and then you click it again. It's kind of like accordion style. It will collapse back up, and then you go down to the next item, click it, it'll expand down, and so on and so on. And it will track your progress because you check each one off as you go. And that core functionality, in my case, was provided by To-Do List Member, where I can actually, they check off tasks like that. Okay. Now, I will be very upfront with you is that I modified the hell out of To-Do List Member to make it look like the action plans inside the Blog Monetization Lab. I've had many people ask me how that system works. There's also another very large membership site in my market called Digital Marketer Lab, who has something very similar, and they built theirs differently. They've got a very custom setup on top of a plugin called Pods. Okay, mine was very custom on top of To-Do List Member. Highly customized. I will be upfront with you that when you install To-Do List Member, it will look nothing like my action plan system. Okay, but that's what it's built upon. So for those who ask, there you go. To-Do List Member. It's a cool little plugin. Okay. The next tool that I use to build membership sites is Gravity Forms. Now, Gravity Forms is basically the most awesome forms plugin you will ever find for WordPress. It's incredibly robust. I've not found anything better. It's also got a lot of community support behind it, add-on plugins for it. It's a beautiful plugin. Now, where I specifically use it for membership sites is to create forms that go inside my action plans or inside my courses. And what I ask for on the forms isn't even all that material, but the reason I specifically like it is because it integrates beautifully into the WordPress user system. And so when my members are logged in and they come to a form that I'm asking them something, they don't have to enter their name and their email or any of that stuff. In fact, any information that is attached to their member account, I can automatically send it into the form. And I don't even have to show it to them. It could be a hidden field. And so it just makes sense, right? If somebody's logged into their account at the Blog Marketing Academy, I already know who they are. My system should already know who they are. So therefore, if I ask them to fill out a form, I shouldn't ask them to tell me who they are again, because that just makes me look stupid. So that's why I like Gravity Forms. You can do a number of beautiful things with Gravity Forms. I've even got an add-on on top of Gravity Forms, which turns it into a full progress log capability. I mean, that's what the progress logs inside the lab, where people can fill them out and track their progress and access their own personal logs inside the blog monetization lab, is all powered by Gravity Forms with this additional add-on. I believe it might be called Gravity View or something like that. But if I wasn't using Gravity Forms, it wouldn't be possible. Okay. So that's Gravity Forms. The next tool that I use to build membership sites is Ontraport. Now, Ontraport is how I host my email list, but it's not like Aweber or MailChimp. This is a full marketing automation platform on par with Infusionsoft. It really does in many ways represent the guts of my business. All of my leads and members and everything, the database is all inside of Ontraport. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need this, okay, to start a membership site. You most definitely don't. It's not a cheapo. It starts off at $297 a month, so I'm not telling you to go out and get this. Now, if you if you're up to this point, if you're running enough revenue now and you want to set up a membership site, then definitely check out an Ontraport or Infusionsoft, matter of personal preference there. But if you're not running enough revenue to justify that kind of expense yet, then you could definitely do all this on top of Aweber or MailChimp. You're not going to have all the automation capability of one of the big guys, but it works pretty well. And MemberMouse works with several different email providers right out the gate. Aweber, MailChimp, GetResponse, many others. And you can look at their sales page to find out what it will work with right out the gate. Now, unfortunately, MemberMouse does not work with Ontraport right out the gate. Okay. It also doesn't work with Infusionsoft right out the gate, and it doesn't work with ActiveCampaign right out the gate. It just doesn't do that. And so for that reason, the very last tool that I use to build membership sites is a simple tool called Fused. Now, Fused, the only purpose of that is to make MemberMouse and Ontraport talk to each other. Okay? It's a tool that I have to use because I use Ontraport. And if I were using ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft, I would need the exact same thing. Now, Fused works beautifully with MemberMouse. It knows all the integrations with MemberMouse, so you can run a number of different automations using Fused. And it basically, if somebody does something on their account in MemberMouse, and I can tell Ontraport how to tag them, and then it's over in Ontraport, I can react accordingly. And so that's essentially how that works. So it is an additional monthly fee to have a Fused account. I kind of wish I didn't need it, but I do at this point. All right. So that's Fused. Maybe it's fusedapp.com, I think is the actual domain there. But of course, like I said, all these tools will be linked to with the show notes. So you can run on over to coffeebreakblogging.com and pull up the show notes for episode 123, and you will find the links to all these tools right there in that episode. Okay, so those are the tools that I use to build membership sites: MemberMouse, OptimizePress, Stripe, WPCourse, To-Do List Member, Gravity Forms, Ontraport, and Fused. Okay, hopefully you found that valuable. Hopefully it answered some questions. And I would be happy to answer yours, by the way. If you have questions about a tool that I did not mention here, feel free to shoot me an email. You can email me at david@blogmarketingacademy.com, and I will try to get back to you just as soon as I can. I'll see you on the next episode of Coffee Break Blogging. Thanks for listening to this episode of Coffee Break Blogging. If you like what you heard here today, we have something awesome we'd love to send you. It's called the Blog Conversion Guide, and it has 9 tweaks you can make to your blog in order to increase your conversion rate to get more opt-ins and sales. As one of our listeners, we'd love to give you access to this guide absolutely free. You can get your copy right now by going to coffeebreakblogging.com. Again, go to coffeebreakblogging.com to get your copy, and we'll see you next time.